see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sun.
Well, good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, November 8th, 2024, and welcome to episode 802 of the Watts Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I am enjoying a light Ethiopian from foodforestfarms.com, where you get 10% off with the discount LOTS10. LOTS10 gets you 10% off, and the shipping's always free. While you're there, check out that C4 Club. Shipments headed out soon. You still have time to get in on November C4 if you sign up today and get some awesome coffee in the next week or so. Check it out, foodforestfarms.com. Today, we're going to be talking about an odd bird, weekend plans for Corey and I, cleaning up the topic list I got over here on my web browser that I go to for show topics and a little bit more. First, let's hang out with the coffee crew, see who's over there, grab a cup and hang out for an hour. Good morning. Good morning. How we doing, guys? Pip in, morning humans. Morning to you, Mr. Pippin, Canadian Farmstead. A happy Friday. Is that what you did? Was that a typo, or was that a I'm pretty sure it's spelled EH. You're the professional up there north of the border, but I'm pretty sure it's an EH. Happy Friday nonetheless, Canadian Farmstead. Mike's Homestead, happy Friday to you. John Palmer, good morning, good day, and good weekend to you too, sir. Haas, how's it going? Morning to you. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate that. Canadian Farmstead said that was just a fat finger. And Reed's Rabbitry over on the Noster feed. He found his spot. He found his new spot. Now, when we drop off and open up a new channel, are you comfortable with Noster, Hunter? Are you comfortable with Noster? Is that a good place for you to be? I think it's fine. But that would open up a new stream. And I don't know where to send it. Anyway, light Ethiopian in the cup this morning. It is fantastic. It's Friday. Corey's got today off. She's been, like I mentioned before, she's taking every other Friday pretty much through the end of the year, right? She chuckles and says, "I only work 2 full weeks." Pip's wondering if we're going to be crossing the streams. Never cross the streams. Hunter says it's okay. It doesn't play with my screen locked. Sorry. Is Twitch the only thing that plays with your screen locked? I think that might be a user error. Maybe there's settings. I don't know. Canadian Farmstead says, "Hi, Corey. Good morning, Corey." She says, "Good morning, everyone." Everyone gets a hello, not just Canadian Farmstead. I see that. Twitch figured it out. Why? So answer this for me. Twitch is mainly a gamer platform, right? It's like if you had to put a description on the majority of the streamed content from Twitch, would it be gamers streaming their them playing games? Why would you, gamers and hoes, both visual, why would it be important for Twitch to allow you to continue to watch? I don't know. Do you listen to people playing video games? Do you listen to Hose? I think that's more of a visual thing. And if you lock your screen, what's the fucking point? So this concept of locking your phone and continuing to watch Twitch it confuses me. John Palmer asks, "You're not at the Gully yet." We're not going to the Gully this weekend. It's supposed to downpour pretty much all weekend. Is it still supposed to downpour pretty much all weekend? Yeah. So we made the call to stick here and be productive. I suppose we could put rain suits on and shit like that and end up soaking wet and nowhere to get out. I mean, we can get into the cabin, but I think it'd be pretty miserable out there in the pouring rain at the moment. And Corey agreed, so we decided to have another date. We'll have another date out at the Gully, or have another date going to get laundry and groceries and stuff done, and then have a productive weekend here at the camper. When we get out there too many weekends in a row, things get behind here and whatnot too. So, good morning, Jim. Thanks for the zap over there. Reed's Rabbitry says you've watched a ball game on the radio. Are there commentators? Are there sportscasters? Are there game casters describing what happens on the screen while they're gaming? I'm honestly asking. I don't. I'm not a gamer. I haven't played a video game probably since 2000 and 2002. Oh, we played the Wii. Corey and I, since I've been with Corey, I guess we did have a Nintendo Wii. But I don't think they're doing live streaming of Nintendo Wii bowling or anything, are we? John Palmer says you were wet when you were born. Haas says, "Damn, while California burns up, you guys get some rain. Send some out our way." We haven't had rain. Months. Reed's Rabbitry says they actually do stream playing the Wii bowling. What the hell am I doing? I should just be playing games. Do people actually watch that? People watch other people playing Wii bowling? That's interesting. Pip says, "What about phone sex hotlines?" Yeah, do they talk through it? I don't want to see the people that are on the other end of the phone lines for sure. People actually watch that shit. Huh. That's interesting. Do the hoes on Twitch describe themselves and what they're doing? And is it like Twitch is not like OnlyFans where they're you say hoes are on there. What are they doing? They're not naked, are they? Are they dancing? Is it like a strip club? Morning, Jamie. Off-grid ping. Thanks for popping in. Canadian Farm says this depends on what area code. It depends on what area code you're in. Determines if the hoes on Twitch are naked or not. Hunter says, "So I got on Twitch because of a friend. She started streaming." Oh yeah, what was she streaming? What was your friend streaming? Then another friend, then a few other friends, then Jack, then me, and one of his kids. What was your friend streaming? Does she still have a Twitch? Haas says it's chicks in bikinis. Man, I'm glad I'm to a point in my life where chicks in bikinis are just like, how many chicks in bikinis can you see? Like, they all end up blending together, don't they? And they get kicked off if they're nude. Interesting. It's an interesting world we live in. People will sit and watch chicks in bikinis, and all they got to do is change the website address, and the chicks don't have bikinis anymore. Canadian Farmstead, Jesus. Anyway, let's get to it. Corey and I were watching. What did we watch last night? Italian Job. The Italian Job. You guys ever see The Italian Job? It was I think it was made about the same time as like the Oceans series, Oceans 11, Oceans 12, that thing. It was a pretty decent. What the fuck is Ghoul Bagel? Oh, that's her handle. I don't even want to go down the references you could make about a bagel on Twitch. Canadian Farmstead says with Michael Caine. Michael Caine in The Italian Job?
I don't recall that name.
No, it was Marky Mark. No, was that Donnie? Was it Marky Mark? Mark Wahlberg. Right? Marky Mark. Seth Green. Ed Norton. Jason Statham. Charlize Theron. Donald Sutherland for about an hour or about 10 minutes. Yeah, that's a lot of them. There was more. The Reed's Rabbitry says, is that the one with the Mini Coopers in the safe? Yeah, it is. I think it was it just wasn't. Canadian Farm says I didn't watch the real one. I understand I didn't watch the real one. I understand it wasn't the original. Jeez. It was, yeah, exactly. It was still from 20 years ago. How far back do you need me to go? Pip says for the car chase scene, the Mini Coopers were all electric cars before electric cars were a thing due to emissions in the subways. Okay, they were electric in the movie, but not in the movie, right? Like in real life while they were filming the movie, because I don't recall that dude retrofitting them to be electric in the movie as part of the plot. Sorry, I didn't watch the Italian Job. What was that, from the 60s, 70s? Anyway, we watched the Italian Job. We enjoyed the movie. It was a good film. It didn't have to be the original. I'm gonna just bust my balls about that shit. Anyway, before we was it before, or the commercial was before, right? Or was it before we watched that episode of Highway Through Hell, the car commercial with the eagle?
I don't remember.
So it was either before the Italian Job or between when we turned on. It was still a little early to go to bed, so we turned on an episode of Highway Through Hell, and they play the commercials on Amazon now. And you guys, have you seen this? They play the commercials at the beginning now. It's like one of 8 commercials. Reed's Rabbitry says some of us are young enough to not even know there was an original, right? Mike Soames says first it was fake news, now it's fake movies. Movies have been real for so long. I think it's kind of the point. So this commercial comes on Amazon in one of the 8 commercials they play before the movie plays. And I believe it was for an Audi, some new Audi sports car, sedan, whatever. And this chick is like driving along on this rural highway, and she's just she's like, it looks like she's enjoying nature. Have you guys seen this commercial? Huh?
While she's driving down the highway enjoying nature.
Well, she's just looking out the windows at nature. She's not in a city. She was in the mountains, like driving through the mountains, looking at the trees on this. She was looking at fucking nature. I'm sorry. It was out the windows of the fucking car. And all of a sudden this bird starts swooping down towards the vehicle, and they show the bird coming in, and there was some like music playing, and it was supposed to be this whole thing where the bird flies up and it's like flying next to her. And all of a sudden we look at the bird, and it's a fucking Canada goose. I watched that bird fly in. Now, I've done a share of waterfowl hunting. I lived our backfield bordered a wastewater settlement pond where the Canada geese hung out. I had Canada geese everywhere around me. It's actually one of the things that I miss about being down here, is actually hearing the geese. There's none here. Never see one, never fucking hear one, along with ducks. It's just odd. Having been around it for 20 plus years. And before that, in New York, there was still a fair amount around, but Minnesota was just unbelievable. But all of a sudden, there's this fucking goose flying next to the car. And I'm like, it didn't sit right. I was just going to let it go. And all of a sudden, Corey's like, is that goose? Like, trying to figure it out. Now, I did some thinking in the moment there real quick and realized that it was probably thinking we were in Canada. We've been watching that. We've been watching enough Highway Through Hell or whatever it is to make them think we're in fucking Canada. And I think the Canada goose is like the eagle representation, the bald eagle of Canada, because that motherfucker, geese don't fly like that. So if they made it with AI, or they generated that goose swooping down and flying next to that car, they fucked it up. Like, the AI has no idea how geese fly, how they land, how they descend. Like, it was so not even close to natural. It almost looked like an eagle. So I don't know. Is the Canada goose the bald eagle of Canada? I know they're mean motherfuckers. I know they could take out whatever they want. But was this a symbolism? Was this or was it just shitty commercial? Corey thinks it was a hybrid. She thinks because the car was a hybrid, that the bird was a hybrid of an eagle and a Canada goose. Well, that'd be a scary fucking bird. I'll tell you what, that would be, if you had a bald eagle that was aggressive as a Canada goose and just a dick like one, that would be a scary animal. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to be near a animal, a hybrid goose eagle. Put the claws. Can you imagine the claws? Those geese hurt enough when they get after you. Can you imagine putting eagle talons on them? Canadian Farmstead says, "Dang Cobra chickens." I'm going to go with just a shitty commercial. I think it might have been AI created. I think the way they couldn't film that. Pip's wondering if it was a geagle or a bald goose. It wasn't bald. It like had the colorings of a goose, and I was so confused when they showed the bird, because it was swooping down, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna have an eagle flying next to the car, and then it's a fucking Canada goose, and I'm like, what is this supposed to mean? Like seriously, they're like the sky rats of the world, and you're trying to advertise your car with a fucking Canada Goose. Like you couldn't have picked a dove or a swan or an eagle or like one of those falconry falcons. Something cool. You pick a fucking Canada Goose. Way to go. Way to go, Audie. Canadian Farm says, don't look up bald goose in the Urban Dictionary. That's most things in the Urban Dictionary are not good to look up. Bald goose. Jesus. Oh man. So that had me thrown for a loop for a little while, for sure. I don't know. I missed the geese though. This time of year in Minnesota, I was kind of thinking about some of the things I missed from the farm from being in Minnesota the other day. Not enough to want to go back by any means. Every time an episode of Highway Through Hell comes on and I see the snow on the road, I'm like, yeah, no, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't miss shit as soon as I see the snow flying. Mike Sohm says we got a guy at work to look up Prince Albert. Did you know that Prince Albert was a tobacco? Was that tobacco, Prince Albert in a can? That was the joke when my dad always was telling that joke when I was a kid. Yeah, we used to go into the store and say, you got Prince Albert in a can? And they'd be like, yeah. And we'd say, we better let him out. And now it's a fucking dick ring. I had a buddy in college I used to drink with. Didn't know him other than from the bar, sitting next to him. He had a bunch of piercings, tattoos, and everything. We struck up conversations over a couple different evenings. And one night, I go in to take a piss, and he's standing, and there were a couple of urinals next to each other, and he glances over his shoulder. He goes, "I wouldn't walk up there." There's a urinal next to him, and I'm like, "Oh, what?" He goes, Hey, when I piss, I use both urinals. Dude had 2 Prince Alberts in a cross in the head of his ding dong, and when he would pee, it would shoot in 4 different directions. So he would kind of angle and pee into both urinals at the same time. Pretty impressive. Jim says, "Is your refrigerator running?" Jamie over at Off Grid Ping says they used to have a rooster named Prince Albert. All right. So this weekend, man, today is date day. Corey and I are gonna have a fun-filled date, running and doing the chores. This is the second week in a row, so I should be way more tolerable, I think. I think she should be able to either through her adaptation or mine, or a combination of both, because that's what a marriage is, right? It's a give and a take. It's a you compromise. And oh my god, what the she just showed me the list. Last Friday our list was like 5 items. Hold that shit up again.
One side's the meals, but
She has a whole notebook page.
we didn't buy anything last week.
This is going to be like our Black Friday shopping trip. Haas said Prince Albert would be a cool pet frog name. Corey, have you started naming your snails?
No, I haven't eaten.
She hasn't named her snails. She counts them every morning, guys. It's kind of adorable, really. I go in to see her in the morning. She's all set up for work, and she'll be like, 17 out today. They're all running away because the sun's up. I mean, or she turned her light on in her room. I mean, I guess it is their son. That would be their son. So we're gonna run out today. We will get our groceries. We'll get our laundry done. Who knows? Maybe we'll even have lunch. Maybe a lunch date. I don't know. Maybe. You game for that? Yeah. And the rest of the weekend, I think, is just it's going to be playing catch up. We had Jim says this tales. Hail, hail, the light keeper's here. The one that feeds us and cleans our world. Turns the lights on and off. For sure. And then I got some work to do. We got as somebody that reviews products and makes money through affiliate sales and things. I got a big time of year coming up here at the end of the month with Black Friday and the stretch into Christmas. So I got to get some purchasing lists, I guess, some videos set up. Do a little brainstorming as far as what to push in the next couple weeks, because Black Friday is coming up here in let me see, 1, 2, 3 weeks from today is Black Friday, so not a whole lot of time.
I have 5 days off over Thanksgiving.
Corey just wants everybody to know that she has 5 days off over Thanksgiving. I don't know if this marriage will survive through 5 days of us off together. I guess I'll have to work. I'll be the one working. Are we gonna be going to the gully for 5 days over Thanksgiving, or part of it? She says we can do anything we want because I don't have to work. John Palmer says I thought it was mustard, not ketchup. We had an interesting discussion at our friend's house the other night when we were having burgers about condiments and toppings for burgers and hot dogs. And brats. And I'm definitely a mustard. If I have to pick one and have only one on any sort of picnic fare, as far as a sausage or a brat, a hamburger or a hot dog, it would have to be mustard. It really would. I do like to wear it as what is the stuff you put on your cheeks, Corey? Blush. I like to wear a nice yellow blush of dried mustard if I can. It works. It works for me. It matches the color of my complexion. So I think that's why the guy never told me I had the big streak of fucking mustard from up to my ear. Asshole. Thanks for bringing up that memory, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, and then I don't know the rest of the weekend. I got a bunch of editing to do on the new podcast. Other podcast, the release day today. Jeremy Doran had a great conversation with Jeremy. Talk about all sorts of stuff. He grew up as the youngest of 10 and kind of made his way through different things, and now he's out on his own. So be sure to check that episode out. The link is in the video description, and I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now. What have you guys been thinking of the new show? We're on this is episode 3, so hopefully you've what the fuck was that message too long? Jesus. YouTube now has a limit on the number of characters you can send in a message. Interesting. Have you guys, anybody listened to the new show? I hope it's pretty good, if I have to say so myself. Yesterday I got to talk to the blind blogger. That'll be coming out I think in December sometime. I'm into December. I think by the end of next week, I'll have episodes recorded and ready to edit going into the first of the year, which is really, really exciting for me. John says he's listened. What do you think, John? Is it a good format? I'm hoping the shorter format, the shorter interview style, and getting only to 30 minutes. I'm hoping it leads to more questions. I'm hoping it leads to more in-depth content, and I'd be shooting for maybe 1 or 2 a month, more in-depth conversations, spun out of their original appearance. That's the end goal. It's tough when you start something from scratch and you're trying to build content and you're trying to build community, you're trying to build followings and subscribers and all that shit, and there's nothing there. Hey, go check out this podcast. There's 1 or 2 or 3. I think as we move into next week, I got some really interesting guests. I mean, all of them have been pretty interesting, and one I tell you, for sure is John Palmer says so many emails from Patreon. I gotta turn that off. I apologize for that. That is not intentional. When I set that up, it auto defaults to say send a message when it publishes. And it's not on my list to check off. It was actually yesterday after I set an episode up, after the fact, when I was reviewing my process. So I'll get that changed. What do you figure? One notification. And I don't know, John, can you turn that off on your end? 1 notification as an episode releases, because I do actually, I'll be doing 3 posts per episode where it's 1 for the audio, 1 for the video, and 1 for the poll, to see if anybody wants to bring that guest back. So it's 3 posts per. Then there's also another post of the early release of the episode a week out. Yeah, it's a lot. I apologize for that. I'm still working through. This is the first time I've ever used Patreon, so thanks for the feedback. I appreciate that. I'll be doing a bunch of stuff on there this weekend and getting stuff set up. So I'll look into getting that the notification thing shut off. Maybe I only do, since it's going to be such a standardized schedule, maybe it'll be just 1 notification if there's an oddball post. If a guest, I'm opening it up to guests that I interview to submit an article, a video, an audio, anything they want really to the Patreon feed. It'll be bonus content from them. And maybe I'll do an alert if there's something like that, or something that is non-typical schedule. So appreciate that, John. Always appreciate any feedback from any of you guys, even if it is jackassery and sarcastic. But let me know if it is jackassery and sarcastic after the fact, because I take all your shit to heart, guys. I really do. Especially Canadian Farmstead, especially. Yeah, so basically working on videos, working on the influencer stuff, getting that out for the holiday season, for the big push into Christmas. Christmas is coming, guys. Corey and I looked at each other the other day and we're like, it was warm and sticky here. It like got really, really humid all of a sudden. It had been gorgeous, and the humidity had been way down for weeks and weeks. I think I mentioned it the other morning how sticky and hot it was in here. And we were on our walk yesterday or the day before, and she looks at me and she's like, "This is so sticky," and I'm like sweating and it's hot. And then we both kind of had this realization, and I saw her face kind of light up, and she's like, "But I really shouldn't complain because it's November." I was like, right. Her parents got 4 inches on her parents got 4 inches of snow on Halloween. And when we talked to him on the phone, it sounded like just north where Corey's brother lives, they got more than that on Halloween. What was it when you were a kid? How many inches? You got 18 inches or something? the holiday blizzard, the Halloween blizzard when Corey was a kid. You remember what year it was? 93 or 96. Whatever, you know. Yeah, they got an ungodly amount on Thanksgiving on Halloween. Why do you live somewhere where there's a blizzard it's not even November? I asked myself that too many times, and then we moved. All right, so that's the weekend, and we'll be back at it on Monday. Have a few stories here that have been kind of hanging out that I haven't really talked about. I'm gonna hit them today. Let's talk about Tennessee Water for a second. This is from November 6th, so a couple days ago is when I spotted this one before the show. Tennessee American Water, that's over Chattanooga, I believe, is the area that they service, southern Tennessee and into northern Georgia. Alerts 40,000 customers about lead and galvanized steel in the service lines. Just remembered that when we buried all those pipes, God knows how long ago, that they might have had lead or galvanized steel. No biggie. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Tennessee American Water has sent out letters to 40,000 customers warning them of potential lead or galvanized steel in their service lines. It also was sent to customers whose water service lines are made of unknown material. Good morning, Take the Ride. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate that. Let's see. The letter says that Tennessee American Water's testing found that water met the standards related to lead. Trust us. We tested. You have lead pipes, but we tested the water and it's good. Don't worry about it. The letter here, dated October 31st, 2024. Dear valued customer, at Tennessee American Water, providing safe, reliable, and affordable water service is our top priority. We're reaching out to you because our records indicate a portion or all of the water service line servicing the property listed below is made of lead or galvanized steel, or your service line material is unknown. Tennessee American Water tests for lead in accordance with regulatory requirements. The results of these tests indicate the water meets drinking water standards related to lead. In addition, we take steps to reduce the potential of lead leaching from service lines and household plumbing into the water by monitoring our treatment processes, adding a corrosion inhibitor when needed. Drinking corrosion inhibitor sounds like a fantastic idea too. The letter goes on to say a bunch of bullshit. CYA, we told you there was lead pipes, so I can't believe you're retarded. We reached out to the author reached out to Tennessee American, who told us our water continues to meet all drinking water standards. They say the letter was a mandated notice from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. Okay. Tennessee American Water provided these tips for reducing exposure to lead with drinking water. Guys, here you go. If you don't know what your material, your Chris Dixon says, delicious. The TAW provided these tips for reducing exposure to lead with drinking water. Run your water to flush out lead, just in case it's just sitting in right by the faucet. Run your water to flush out lead. Flushing the tap means running cold water faucet. Use cold flushed water for cooking and preparing baby formula, because lead from lead containing plumbing material and pipes can dissolve into hot water more easily than cold water. Do not boil water to remove lead. Boiling water will not reduce lead. However, it is still safe to wash your hands, dishes, shower, water plants, do laundry, etc. The plants don't give a shit if there's lead in the water. Canadian Farm says we need to flush the lines to bring in the fresh lead. You don't want the old stagnant lead. Christ. Look for alternative sources or treatment of water if you're concerned about contaminants. I wasn't concerned until you sent me a letter that told me all the pipes were made out of lead. Get your water tested. Is it get your water tested? Wait. I thought they said that they tested the water and that it was perfectly fine. Why do I wait? Identify plumbing fixtures containing lead. The ones you get from China usually have lead. Replace plumbing or fixtures containing lead. After you identify them, then replace them. Remove and clean aerator screens on plumbing fixtures. That must hold the lead in the water. It must be. Gosh, bless you, Corey. Are you okay? Whew. Canadian Pharmacist says it's not a problem, but don't drink it and get your water tested. But it's fine. Mike Homestead says, yeah, they tested on their end, not yours. Then why do they even say they test it? If the issue is between the distribution facility and the homes that it runs to, if the lead pipes and things, why do they even mention that they test it and it's at drinking water contamination standards? Canadian Vibes says, avoid watching any misinformation about lead toxicity. Chris Dixon, Billy starts digging up the whole infrastructure to find the source of the lead. This is going to be Killdozer 2.0. Oh wait, Whistling Diesel already did that. This is going to be the kill excavator, the Collextivator. They're going to plate up an excavator, and the guy's going to just go and dig up all the water lines in the whole Tennessee American water distribution system. He's going to dig them all up. Sometimes unreasonable men get lead poisoning and go crazy. Here's a good step for you guys. These are okay. These tips for reducing exposure to lead. Volunteer for triennial lead and copper tap monitoring. Tennessee American Water periodically tests a portion of the residences as required by the TDEC for lead and copper levels and other water quality parameters throughout the distribution system. Here you go. Water softeners and reverse osmosis units will remove lead. Water softeners will take lead out? Is that true? I could see reverse osmosis, but water softeners will drop lead out of water. But can also make the water more corrosive to lead, solder, and plumbing by removing certain minerals. So they're saying that if you run it through a water softener, it'll drop the lead out, but it'll make all your lead fixtures in your house. So they're saying that the lead is in the house because the water softener would be inside your residence. Chris Dixon says, but don't catch rainwater because that messes with local ecosystems and watershed programs. Right? How dare you? How dare you collect water? Canadian Pharmacist said, but there still isn't a lead problem. How many letters did the people in Flint, Michigan get before they were like, well, half the population of Flint's retarded now from all the lead exposure. There might be lead in the water. Jesus. Oh man. Chattanooga. Anybody here from Chattanooga? Mike, Mike's Homestead. You're not. Chattanooga's way far away from you, huh? Canadian, Tennessee American Water, new motto. At least we're not Flint yet. Jeez. Have they fixed the water in Flint, Michigan yet? Is that still a shit show up there? It just went away. I'm sure Trump will fix it if it's still. I'm sure it was Biden's fault that nobody fixed the water in Flint, and Trump the first time, and Obama, and who was before Obama? Who was before Barack Obama, Corey?
You're looking at me for that answer? Probably Bush.
Mike Soames says a couple of hours we were on a well. Have you checked your well for lead piping? Chris Dixon says they didn't fix the water, they just fixed the test results. Right, for sure. Oh man, Tennessee American Water. Yeah, you can learn more at their website. Oh, Bush, that's right. Bush was before Obama. John Palmer, Bush, Clinton, Bush. Right. Orange man, good for orange coin. John Palmer showing his history acclimate, giving us the whole history. Can you go further, please? Can you go back to Washington? the history of the presidency of the United States. Grover Cleveland. Who was your favorite president? Zachary Taylor? John Taylor? All right. Anyway, Tennessee American Water. I have a couple of different stories here now regarding like science and shit. This one was an interesting read. It just popped up it was actually an ad on one of the other things I was reading, but it popped up and it was an interesting ethical like exercise you can kind of go through. I think it probably popped up because of the election. Let's see what the date of this is. 4 weeks ago. So it was leading up to the whole election, and you know, the one of the biggest issues there was the coat hanger, the abortion issue with Kamala and reproductive rights and all that shit. This story isn't necessarily about, oh God, here we go. Carter, Ford, Nixon. This isn't about abortion. Well, kind of. Not really. John Palmer says that's all I've been alive for. We're not allowed to know what happened before we were born, just so you know. You should never know anything prior to that. This story says they were made without eggs or sperm. Are they human? And it's an interesting article about stem cell embryos and research, where we've progressed to a point in science where we can make an embryo, or what we think to be an embryo, because that's the sticker. Is they talk about this article, so they're doing research. They're not making mutant babies in incubators. They're basically studying the development of embryos to hopefully be able to I don't know. Their intentions could be all over the board, but the article says that their intentions are to be able to better diagnose and treat disease and illness in developing babies. Makes sense to me. So back in, what was the year? It's down here somewhere. I noted it and I don't see it here. In the 80s. Okay, in the 80s when they started fucking around with this stuff and making embryos in petri dishes. And they don't even actually know if their embryo is an embryo because they can't Chris Dixon says to help make the perfect human. They already achieved that with you, Chris. There's no improving on perfection. So, basically, back in the 80s, they started fucking around with embryos in petri dishes, and the scientific community got scared. The governments got scared. Religions got scared. Everybody got scared, and they put a 14-day development limit on the embryos. Now, these weren't conceived and harvested. They were all made in a lab. They felt that the time limit of 14 days ensured that it didn't have any feeling. Not feelings like I'm sad, I'm happy, like feeling as in nerve endings and feel pain. Oh, John Palmer said he said human, not Canadian. Oh, John Palmer's dehumanizing Canadians now. Trump wins, and all of a sudden it's fucking xenophobia here in the whole chat. Put up the wall, especially the northern one. So they understood that the spinal cord didn't form before 14 days. So they made this arbitrary. You can let it live and study it. Good morning, Seattle. You can let it live and study it for 14 days, but we know that it can't feel pain if we get rid of it at 14 days. John Palmer says the conditions that the lab isn't human. I think it's not human when they manufacture it in a lab. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. It doesn't have a brain. It doesn't have a spinal cord. It's basically cells reproducing. It is what it is. I don't have a dog in the fight. But regardless, they picked 14 days. They picked 14 days, random and arbitrarily, because it was new. It was new science. Now, this 14-day standard has continued worldwide. Take their eyes as designer baby sounds like Gattaca. Yeah, I mean, we're all in the Matrix anyway. Ready? Right? Oh, John Palmer says the conditions they live in. Oh, the conditions they live in isn't human. And he was talking about Canadian weather. Sorry. That typo and my reading mixed together really took that message and spun it around on its head, didn't it? Anyway, so they've gone with this 14-day period since the 80s. So what is that, 40 years now? They're getting to a point where they're starting to be able to see where different conditions and illnesses form and develop in babies. They're now trying to determine what makes a human a human. And this is the age-old abortion debate, but that is a different. I feel, my opinion, nobody's opinion but my own, that something created by taking two things in a lab and putting it together in a petri dish is a different argument than conceiving a child in the womb and figuring out when it becomes a human. I don't think that even if it was possible, to take and develop a human in a petri dish and develop it all the way till gestation period is over, I don't know if you could ever call it a human. Chris Dixon says, well, gotta go start the dog sled and club a seal for breakfast. Have a great day. Baby seals. You're going clubbing with baby seals? Have a great day, Chris. Have a great weekend. Canadian Farmstead says, Brian just wants to be able to hunt these non-humans. Have you guys ever heard of Japanese albino hunting? They let all the Japanese albinos run around and then you hunt them. Do you shoot them? No, it's strictly catch and release. What movie is that from, guys? Any idea? It's not The Green Mile. John Palmer says it's a Tubin, not a human. Well, I mean, I like to trust the science. I don't like to trust the science. I like the science to be able to evolve and determine things. But it's an interesting moral and ethical question where you draw the line. Reed's Rabbitry putting all sorts of weird emojis over on Nostr. Looks like a horn, a sun. Is it your birthday? Is it your birthday? He wants a mirrored ball in his emojis. What do you do? What a weirdo. What a weirdo. Canadian Farmstead says the line's been crossed already. Take the Ride says the most dangerous game. Clubbing with seals. Oh, gotcha. Reed Rabbitry was trying to club with seals. He's a couple of seconds behind. He probably had to unlock his phone, but he realized that he's on Nostr and not on Twitch, and his phone wasn't locked, and so it took him a minute to realize that he could send a message. Reed's Rabbitry says weaponized autism. It's already been weaponized. Are you fucking kidding? I was reading an article about that it wasn't appropriate for this show. I mean, it would be appropriate for this show if I didn't want to stay on YouTube anymore. It was about some of the diseases that have developed in our children. Canadian Farmstead. That's bullshit. Canadian Farmstead, I call you out right now. You are lying. Says, I still don't know how they fit their penis in the test tube, to be honest. Oh, Hunter's trying to explain himself. He says, the delay on the platform is like 6 seconds. It's okay. It's okay. What's the delay on Twitch? But anyway, these guys went back and forth and they actually laid out some interesting points on both sides of the discussion. Just, I don't know. Is the juice worth the squeeze, really? If it, what is the whole pro life? If it saves just one life, or is that's the gun? That's the anti-gun. Wait, I get my slogans mixed up. What's the one if it just saves one life? Because I'm pretty sure that they use that for one side of one argument and not the other, their side of the other argument. Guns. Okay, if it saves just one life is guns. But you can't say that about abortion because it's the same people that want to kill the babies that want to take away the guns, right? Is that how it goes? I don't know. You know what? I don't give a fucking shit what you do. Take your guns and your abortions and do whatever you want. Oh. Jim says you can kill your baby, just not with a gun. Okay. So these little embryos, if experimenting on petri dishes and observing and learning how the fetus, the embryo, I can't say fetus, I don't think. I think once it's a fetus, it's a baby, right? Is that what we've determined? That once it's not just a ball of cells and it turns into a fetus and we change the name from embryo to fetus? Is that where it turns into a baby? I don't know. I just don't care. I don't have a vagina or a womb. I don't care. Oh, John says if you save the wrong life with gun control, you get Hitler. I think we got Hitler in the election the other day. I'm pretty sure they say Trump is Hitler, although he supports Israel. I'm still confused. It's almost like the gun and the abortion thing, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Canadian Farmstead says I miss Conspiracy Fridays. I'm sorry, man. What? How many conspiracies can we talk about? Like, really? I did it for 7 weeks or some shit. Sometimes you just run out of conspiracies. Hunter says microbes on Mars is life, but a whole clump of cells isn't. I don't know if they necessarily say it's not life. I don't know. I don't know what the arguments are. I can't speak. I can't speak to their insanity. Can't speak to their insanity. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. I just don't. But it was an interesting article nonetheless about the morality of growing embryos for scientific research. It's just a fluff piece for the stem cell researchers. I mean, whatever. There has to be scientific advancements at some point. Here's a controversial statement. Was there anything that came out of the testing in the 1940s in Germany that wasn't bad? I'm not saying that anything they did was justified. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying that we should continue to do any of the stuff that they were fucking doing. But was there... I try to be a glass half full guy. Was there anything learned other than we shouldn't slaughter a whole race of people or creed or religion or people that are different than us? Was there anything scientifically learned? I know there was a lot of nasty, evil shit that was done, and they killed a bunch of people. But was there any scientific advancements? I know we stole a lot of their non-biological advancements, probably some of their biological weapon advancements, but they did a lot of testing that I don't know. I'm not a German scientist expert either. Maybe somebody out there is. I'm open to hearing things where a lot of people will hear the N word, and I'm talking about the NA word, NAZ word. They hear that and they shut down and like, listen to the whole description of what a question people are asking. You might learn something new. And it isn't evil to talk about. So, I don't know. Anyway, last article we'll talk about today, and then we'll wrap up for the week. Pompeii victims. Headline was, Pompeii victims weren't who we thought they were. DNA analysis reveals. John Palmer says Nazareth. Yeah. Uh-huh. I was just reading this one, and it's like you see people set up their own straw men. You see people set up their own argument, and you read the article, and if you read it and actually think about it, in the middle of the article you go, wait, what? But if you read it at face value, you take the headline and run, or you read a little bit, or you don't actually comprehend or think about what they're saying. This could go a couple different ways. It says the surprising identities of some of the doomed inhabitants of the ancient Pompeii have been revealed by a new analysis of their DNA, rewriting the life histories of these unfortunate souls. Based on their findings, the study authors suggest that certain long-standing narratives regarding some of the Roman city's residents are wide of the mark and are probably based on erroneous modern assumptions about how people lived in the past. All right. We're changing the way we think about how they were living in Pompeii. Following the catastrophic eruption in Mount Vesuvius, the annihilated Pompeii in 79 CE, the bodies of numerous victims became encased in ash, thus preserving their postures at the moment of their horrific deaths. There are some pretty interesting postures that they've uncovered. If you haven't looked into the ruins of Pompeii, there's some kind of humorous things. Over the centuries, soft tissues of the deceased decayed, leaving hollow cavities, and researchers were able to fill with plaster in order to create casts of these long dead Pompeians. It happens very often that when we analyze individuals who lived in the past, we often discover embarrassing situations. From the small fragments of skeletal material still present within these casts, the authors of the new study were able to extract the DNA of 14 different individuals, which they were then analyzed in order to learn about their ancestry, sex, and genetic relationships. Okay, so we're going to determine if they were a boy or a girl by their DNA. Wait, that you can't do that. I thought you could choose your own adventure. Here is something. We show that the individual sexes and family relationships do not match traditional interpretations, exemplifying how modern assumptions about gendered behaviors may not be reliable lenses through which we view data from the past. So this guy's saying that because of our assumptions of gender roles and things like that, we've misdiagnosed what we think was going on in these scenes that we've been able to see from the past. For instance, one notable example is the discovery of an adult wearing a golden bracelet and holding a child, traditionally interpreted as a mother and a child, were an unrelated adult male and child. So they found an adult holding a child. Adult had a gold bracelet on, and researchers assumed that it was a woman and a child. Why? I'm not sure. He's saying that it's because of gender roles. I'm saying I could easily say that that was probably a wealthy doctor holding an infant child patient. Easy. The pair were discovered in 1974 inside a dwelling that became known as the House of the Golden Bracelet, and they were thought to have been part of a family of 4. However, new analysis has revealed that the 2 adults and 2 children found in the house were all unrelated males. I'm not sure the point they're trying to get across. I mean, I know the point they're trying to convey, but they haven't really hit it yet. Co-author David Carmelli explained that it came as no shock to learn that previous assumptions turned out to be so inaccurate. It happens very often that when we analyze individuals who lived in the past, we often discover embarrassing situations. I'm not sure what's embarrassing about this. Like they literally have the cast of an adult holding a child. Could have been a neighbor babysitting, could have been a daycare center, could have been a doctor's office, could have been a million situations. Why is it embarrassing? Or are they saying they're embarrassed because they assume that it was a woman and a child? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Despite this, he reveals it was certainly a surprise to discover the family was not a family, and at least one of the 2 girls was a boy. So they said it was 4 males, but now he's saying that one of them was a boy, not a girl. I don't think this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. Meanwhile, the building called the House of Cryptocurrencies, Cryptoporcius, a pair of individuals who died in a brace had previously been interpreted as sisters, yet turned out to include at least 1 male. These discoveries challenge long-standing interpretations such as associating jewelry with femininity. Have we seen, like, literally, if Los Angeles got covered by a volcanic eruption today, could we assume, and why would we assume that femininity came with jewelry? These guys are supposed to be anthropologists, and they can't wrap their head around the fact that a guy might have had a bracelet on. A deeper look at the genetic heritage of the ancient cadavers provided yet more surprising insight, shedding light on global connections of ancient Rome. Overall, it was interesting that they were mainly descended from recent immigrants from the Eastern Mediterranean. Why is this a shock? Like, seriously, who did this study and was like, oh my God, I can't believe this shit? Pip says, Hell A is taken out by a volcano. Don't tease me. And John Palmer says, they sound like apologists, not anthropologists. I think so. Jim's picking up what I'm laying down. Mr. T is really a chick. Right. Trust the science, Jim. Trust the science. And how did gold not deform and melt down in when they got covered with ash? Was the ash cool by the time it buried Pompeii? Because it wasn't a lava flow, I don't believe. Or was it a lava flow? Because a lava flow would have just burned everything up. I'm pretty sure Pompeii was just covered in ash, which must have been cool enough not to burn everything up, and likely caustic enough to preserve. Interesting. He and his colleagues are now analyzing DNA of a further 168 individuals. Oh, goody. The surprises will be abundant from another 168 individuals. the results of which will offer us much more precise and complete population panorama. What a fucking joke. This study was published in the journal Current Biology. Just in case you were looking to read the full in-depth study where this moron can't put it in his head that a dude might have been wearing some jewelry. And that there's any possible way that an unrelated male adult was holding a male child. There's no non-nefarious situation or agenda promoting situation where an adult male may be holding an unrelated adult child, an unrelated male child, excuse me. There's no way that could possibly ever happen unless it was something to promote an agenda of breaking stereotypes. Jim says the mountain blew up, lava first, then ash. How did the lava not destroy everything? Or did the lava flow not hit the whole city? Pip says, I can sum up all of this story. We realized that the first scientists were full of shit and made stuff up. And here's what we think really happened. No, Pip, I'll edit that for you. We realized the first scientists were full of shit and made stuff up. And we're going to make some other stuff up and say that they were wrong. John Palmer says, take lessons from Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis. I don't know. Can they show that movie anymore? Have they Mandela affected that out of Kindergarten Cop? Reed's Rabbitry says that's humans, though. We make up a story for everything, and once you have something, you don't want to give it up. I hear you. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up, get out of here for the week. I appreciate everybody hanging out, and we'll circle back on Monday for another fun-packed week. We're going to leave the Ducks as they go. I think we're doing pretty good on the selection of the Ducks. We'll let them ride. I don't want to be the cause of another massive dip. Dip. But I suggest if we fall below 68, buy what you can. It's payday. Anyway, guys, I appreciate hanging out. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you get a bunch of shit done. Make it through Friday. You got a couple days off if you work that schedule. But make it count. We're rolling up here on the end of the year. Do something to make your life a little better and make yourself sleep a little easier. Hope you have a fantastic day, a great weekend, and we will catch up with you on Monday.
I can see the light.